Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my sessions at EAI ICONES 2023. My name is Putri Amalia Rizkina from Universitas Muhammadiyah Purwokerto. Today, I would like to bring up my presentations entitled ICT-based learning during COVID-19 outbreak, students' responses, benefit, and challenge. My study was conducted in 2021, but I still believe that the result is still relevant with our current status quo right now. To begin with, I would like to share about the background of my study. As we all know, that pandemic of COVID-19 in Indonesia was announced firstly on March 11, 2020, and even by May 2020, 95% of students worldwide had been impacted by the virus outbreak, so that the government around the world ordering school and universities closure. That happened as well here in Purwokerto, Indonesia, where we have education shifting, which were all the educational facilities from kindergarten to higher educations were closed temporary. The students had to study from their home, and the teacher as well need to transfer the knowledge and also materials from their home as well. And at that time, because we are in the developing countries, even in Purwokerto as well, the questions remain such as, like, when will this pandemic COVID-19 ends? How we as a teacher cope with these situations? Because we need to study with the new technology where we need their help to transfer the materials to the students. But at that same times, we also really new with this situation where we don't really know, or the teacher did not really know what kind of the ICT apps that better to be used in the teaching and learning process through online learning. So I conducted the study dealing with the ICT to know or to discover the learners' responses toward ICT-based learning during COVID-19 pandemic, and also to find out benefit of the ICT-based learning during the online learning, and also to explain about the obstacle or challenge faced by the students in implementing ICT-based learning during COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, now we go to the use of the ICT. Firstly, I would like to define to you what is ICT. Based on the expert which were Asaber and also Ingwa in 2012, ICT is defined as equipment, procedure, and devices that provide physical development and support for generations, transmissions, and operations to store and publish files in any format, including audio, text, document, photos, and videos. And even like the software and also Office applications like Microsoft PowerPoint, graphic application tools, and so on, and the likes, you may say Canva and TechMin, let's say, it's also the example of the ICT. Or in this case, I would like to mention several applications that popular amongst the lecturer and also teachers back then in 2021. For example, Zoom, Gmeet, Schoology, Google Class, and Teachmin, and the likes were administered at the time to support the online teaching and learning process. But now we go to the field overview. I managed to have interview with some lecturers at that times dealing with the use of the ICT, and the problems appeared this way. From the teacher point of view, the use of ICT is really empowering them to transfer the material. I mean, they can use the facilities and also the features to maximize the teaching and learning process, like having, really sophisticated presentations like this, like we're having right now, with the face appearing on the screen, with the PowerPoint, which goes very smooth. But at the same time, they cannot control the students' activeness and the students' engagement in the first place. Many of the students are hidden or stop their video, so they only like listening, but the students cannot, or the teacher did not really know whether or not the students are engaged with the teaching and learning process. That's the first point of view. And the second of all, From the students' point of view, ladies and gentlemen, as we believe that we are living in the developing countries, and even Purwokerto itself are developing cities, where these, the areas are divided into three, like the urban area of Purwokerto, suburban area of Purwokerto, and also the remote area of Purwokerto, ladies and gentlemen. For those students living in the urban and suburban, I think they will be like easier for them to get the access. Plus, mostly they have the Wi-Fi at home, so learning online would not be any problem or will not be any burden for them because they just like open their gadget, click connect to the Wi-Fi, and everything is goes that way. But it will be problems for those students who are living in the remote area where they did not have the Wi-Fi at home, and or maybe they did not have like very strong signals in their from their provider in their gadgets, so they cannot really maximize in joining the class online. And now we go to the strengths and also weaknesses of the ICT use. As I believe, as I mentioned previously, ladies and gentlemen, even though this ICT has a popularity and also become like one of the trends among the students and also the lecturers, but we cannot neglect that the weaknesses are still there, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look, for example, by a study by Cox Preston identified some issues related to the use of the ICT in the classroom, including the use of ICT software and hardware failure, insufficient use of ICT, some difficulties in accessing to capital resources, and also the technology. And even Manda and Dow in 2019 explored issues related to the four companies, including the employment, competition skills, which is actually like it becomes the weaknesses. And some of these issues include internet speed, coverage, and cost, as well as the electrical issues, expensive infrastructure costs, and managing and also arranging the classroom, hardware and software maintenance, a lack of competence, and occasionally plagiarism because the students are working their assignment at home, so the teacher cannot do like a direct observations toward the students. Those are the weaknesses of the ICT. But the strengths is, of course, this ICT is really help us as a teacher to transfer the material for the students. And also this ICT is easier the students to open the material anywhere, every time, in every single occasions that convenience that, suits them well, let's say. And as I mentioned previously, my study or my research was done in May 2021 at the end of semester 2 and 4, academic year 2020 and 2021. And the total population is actually 110 students, and the sample was 80 students, consisted of 69 students of second semester, which grouped in elementary level, and 11 students of fourth semester, which grouped in low advanced level. For your information, ladies and gentlemen, my sample here were the students from non-English department, but they are having like English enrichment program held by the Language Development Center LDC. And this LDC actually, they have placement tests in the very first place to differ the student based on the competence. So in one class, it could be consisted from the students from various study program, let's say. And for the second and the fourth, is grouped in elementary level and also low advanced level English in University of Muhammadiyah Purwokerto. Then the questionnaire was also distributed to the students through G-forms to know, to gather the data, to know their responses, and also their challenges and obstacles, and also the benefit in using the ICT itself. The convenient sample technique was used since it is really appropriate for these pandemic situations. Besides, the research was done in the end of semester where the teaching and learning process was not really effective. And the respondent in the study is 80 students from 110 students, representing 72.72% of the overall populations. Now, this study is actually, I have the questionnaire outline with the variable, of course, ICT-based learning during COVID-19 outbreak for the student response, benefit, and challenge. And for the indicator, I have 5, which are accessibility, appearance of utility, communications and interaction, student satisfaction towards the ICT use, and also students' obstacle. Now, this is the result of the table. We can see from the indicator 1, accessibility consisted of 2 questions. The percentage of each question is actually 80%, say extremely effective and also very effective for the accessibility. And for the benefit of the ICT, we can see the number is 80 something above, which belong to extremely effective. And for the communications and interactions during the use of the ICT, it's very effective. It plays on the number 80%. And for the student satisfaction, we also have 80 something and 82, which belong to the very effective and extremely effective. But here we still also have a high challenge faced by the students, which the percentage is 82%. So it shows us that even though ICT use has a very high or many beneficial, it's very effective and beneficial for the students, but our students are still facing the challenge in using this, ICT. As I mentioned previously, the result in general showed that 82% students agreed that ICT-based learning during COVID-19 outbreak was effective to be done in the class. Plus, students felt satisfied because ICT-based learning was the only win-win solutions to maximize the teaching and learning process because they cannot go to school. As the result could be seen in the chart that question 7 belongs to the appearance of the utilitarian benefit is 84. It means that students could benefit from the ICT. Meanwhile, the lowest score was in the question 2. It shows that some students still had difficulties in accessing the apps, even though it was only the minor problem. Well, this case needs further research on the reasons why or what aspect would affect this case the most. Or another level where score was question 3, which lays on 80%. It dealt with the variance of the ICT-based learning during the online class. Mostly the lecturer used Zoom, Gmeet, and Schoology, and the student felt to have more app, to use another app maybe to support their learning process. And even though they are having benefit from the ICT, but students also had difficulties in running some features, the ICT applications such as Zoom and Gmeet, like the most popular ones. It was found that students did not recognize all features and its functions maximally. The students knew the most frequent use only, like the button of like mute, unmute, and then stop, and also camera on and camera off, chat box, share screen. And it is so unfortunate that the students could not use all the features maximally in its attempt to reach maximum result in using Zoom, let's say, or in using the Gmeet. But if I may compare Gmeet and Zoom, maybe Gmeet is way more less data consumptions rather than Zoom, because Zoom took a lot from data consumptions if we use our personal quota from the provider. But both both applications will be the same if we use the Wi-Fi, I think, because we don't really aware with the data consumptions when we are using the Wi-Fi. And based on the result aforementioned, this present study recommends the effective use of ICT-based learning during COVID-19 outbreak. In addition, it is suggested to the students to have better understanding first before running the apps. Find tutorials maybe on how to use the ICT apps during online class will be beneficial in maximizing learning process. Tutorials are available worldwide online and free. Plus, the lecturer may find another applicable platform to be used as ICT app in online class. And the purpose is, of course, to help maximizing the teaching and learning as well to gain students' motivations in following to the class. In the end, the maximum result of teaching and learning process cannot be achieved without the good collaborations among teachers, students, and also ICT app during the online. And finally, as I believe that the study was conducted in relatively short time period due to the limitations of the time, so I believe that It is suggested to conduct more research on these fields in longer time to get better results. Some items in the indicators also need to be dig more to know the exact reasons of why certain case happen among the students. So this is the end of my presentations, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for having me during these sessions. I would like to welcome you for the question and answer sessions. Thank you very much for having me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.